Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Joy News. Today we're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemne. We're on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. Joy News, your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. And coming up this afternoon, Director General of Ghana AIDS Commission worried the country's economy could be greatly undermined if nothing is done to curtail the increase in HIV infection rates. With details as he reveals 46 persons are infected in the country on a daily basis. Also, Flagbearer hopeful of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, wraps up campaign ahead of the August 26 Super Delegates Conference. We're live in Tafo Pankrono, where he is expected to meet delegates of Tafo and Pankrono and delegates participating in the August 26 election. Plus 9 people killed in 581 fire incidents recorded in the Ashanti region in the first half of the year 2023. We have details plus business, sports, world news, showbiz, all coming up this afternoon. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Let's begin with Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Etuahene, who has hinted the country's economy will be greatly undermined if nothing is done to curtail the increase in HIV infection rates. Currently, 46 people in Ghana get infected in every day in the country, with the Accra metropolis leading with the highest number of persons living with HIV in the Greater Accra region. We'll hear from the Director General. First, listen to Mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Saki, at the launch of the National HIV Self-Testing Program, announcing some 8,112 persons in the metropolis are among the over 350,000 persons living with the disease nationwide.
It is estimated that the national adult HIV prevalence stands at 1.66%, with a total of 354,927 individuals living with HIV, consisting of 330,250 adults and 24,712 children. In the Greater Accra region, Accra metropolis has the highest number of people living with HIV, with a total of 8,112, which is a stark reminder of the agency with which we must collectively act to address the issue.
We can now hear from the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Etuahene, who is calling on all and sundry to support the Commission to avert a national disaster. He is also encouraging people to take advantage of the self-testing kits, adding is the surest way of dealing with the problem at hand.
HIV has something to do with urbanization. So the large urban centers have higher, concentration of HIV population in this country. Okay. And so you take Greater Accra, you have Accra, you have Kumasi, you have, of course, Takoradi, and the other, big centers. They all have very high HIV prevalence, much higher than the national average. And so we have to look at urbanization, and that is the reason why we have prioritized these cities to ensure that we reach out to more at-risk populations living in these cities so that they get tested and those who test positive are given antiretroviral treatment and supported to remain on treatment. HIV has evolved. You know, the epidemic has evolved, and the way we handle it has also evolved. We have educational, television, you know, ads, and radio jingles.
But is it widespread?
We no longer have the resources as we used to. Currently, we have only 1/3 of the money we need to finance the HIV response. And as you said, the awareness creation, the education, the counseling, the outreaches, you know, and making services available, you know, right at the doorsteps of the people are very essential if we must achieve our goal. We don't have the money to do all that.
With over 16,000 annual infection rates, the program's manager at the National AIDS and STI Control Program, Dr. Stephen Ayisiado, said over 200,000 HIV self-testing kits have so far been distributed among Ghanaians under the pilot phase-out, of which over 80% of those who reacted were linked to treatment.
And through the pilot, we had 3 channels: the health facility where people could get the test kits and then test themselves. We also had one USAID-funded EPIC project, which was targeted at key populations. And then we also have the Garnet, who were distributed in communities, 50 districts in our country, targeted at adolescent girls and young women, their partners, other truck drivers, and you know, betting settings. And then, last but not least, we have an online version, that's Self-Test Ghana, where people can order this test, and then they can test and then bring the results. So far, altogether, we've distributed about 200,000 test kits, different levels with respect to each of the organizations. And we are happy to indicate that quite a number of these people are early testers, first-time tested. In the EPIC project, the number tested, about 77% were first-time tested, with testers, which means that without the self-test, they wouldn't have tested. And because it requires an effort to come to the facility, it's very difficult sometimes for people. So it's critical that people take advantage of this. And then all these people, quite a number of them have been linked. The positives have been linked to treatment. So it has enhanced the linkage rates, you know, on antiretroviral therapy. The other benefit is that apart from the confirmation, anybody who is negative among key populations is eligible for pre-exposure prophylaxis. So you take the medication before you are exposed. And we were able to, you know, out of these, all the numbers, you know, that are identified, all the eligible people, we were able to link a good number of them, over 80%, also, you know, for pre-exposure prophylaxis. Because if we want to end the epidemic, we must break the transmission amongst key populations. Their prevalence is 18%. So we must protect them so that they don't transmit it to their partners.
Away from HIV/AIDS, let's do politics. Flagbearer hopeful of the new patriotic party, Dr. Bawumia, has been campaigning across all 47 constituencies in the Ashanti region ahead of the NPP's presidential primary. The vice president is expected to wrap his campaign today as he meets delegates of Tafo and Pankrono and later meets with delegates who will be participating in the August 26th Super Delegates Conference. Nana Boache Yadom met Director of Communications for the Bawumia campaign team, Nana Akomea, and he had this conversation with him.
Well, it has been an arduous roadshow, if I can put it that way, going by bus to 44 constituencies across the Ashanti region. It has been arduous and tedious, but the Vice President has shown a certain resilience and strength in being able to do all of these 44 constituencies in 2 weeks. And this is the last one, Tafo Pankrono. Then he will be finished with the Ashanti Regional Tower for now. And I'm sure you were in the hall and you have seen the enthusiasm and excitement of the delegates at the presence of the Vice President. And this is the 44th constituency. Now, this level of excitement and enthusiasm has been displayed in each of the 44 constituencies. And what is a bit surprising is that a majority of the contestants for the NPP Flagbearership are from Ashanti region. A majority, if I can count about 8 or 9. So you would have expected that Ashanti region, having so many of its people in the race, would not be showing that much enthusiasm for the Vice President. But from the enthusiasm that you've seen in Ashanti region, there's no doubt that the Vice President is clearly the front runner in this race.
Let's take you live to Tafo Pankrono in the Ashanti region, where Dr. Bawumia is expected to meet delegates. Nana Boakye Yadom is our man on the ground for us. Nana Boakye, has this meeting happened, and what has the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, been telling the delegates?
Well, Aisha, the Vice President and Flagbearer hopeful of the new patriotic party, Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, has been meeting delegates of Tafo Pankrono. Earlier, he has been touting his achievements as Vice President and why it is necessary for some
breaking sound. We'll try and get the feed. It's a live feed coming from Tafo Pankrono, and of course is Dr. Bawumia, NPP Flagbearer hopeful, wrapping up his campaign in the Ashanti region. He's billed to meet delegates in Tafo Pankrono, and also delegates will be participating in the August 26th Super Delegates Conference. Nana Boakye Yadom will be joining us again when the feed is clear to tell us more about this. Before that, imagine living in a house you can only access with the help of a ladder. That is the story of 25-year-old Nanaya Wisdom Eshen, whose situation only mirrors what residents of New Botiano have to endure as a result of perennial floods, hanging homes caused by torrential rains, children killed by the floods, and bad roads are just some of the troubles the residents continue to endure anytime it rains. Maxwell Ababa has more in our latest Floods of Trauma series.
It is March 2023. Flood water has forced the collapse of a building here at New Botiano. 2 children, 9 and 11 years, were swept away. They died. Their mother, Nanama, sits on the floor inconsolable after the disaster. After the collapse of the building, Nanama relocated from New Botiano. She never wanted to have anything to do with this community again.
Oh, you're from Ransford.
Ransford, yeah.
Ransford Ebenezer.
I've met 18-year-old Ransford Ebenezer Chum. The 2 children were his friends. He says he was traumatized for days.
No, we are 3. Penini Ketwa.
There were 3 siblings. The little one was rescued, but the 2 of them died. Their parents have not relocated. The flood water first caused the collapse of their building. The water swept away one of them, and the other one tried to rescue her, but the 2 died. They were swept away by the flood water.
Not too far from Naname's house is another house which is virtually hanging.
Residents here tell me that a pregnant woman used to live in this house. And she also used the ladder anytime she wants to get access to her home or step out to go to town. Nana Kwame and Alex have been living here for the past 2 years. This is how they do it all the time. it's always a risky journey to get to their home. And they tell me that it's terrifying when it starts raining, and they always have to wait for the rain to subside before they come out. Okay. How long have you been staying here?
I'm staying for 2 years.
Met the man who lives here, Nanaya Ishen. He says the only way to access his residence is with the help of a ladder which sits about 10 feet deep into the belly of the earth, and massive erosion caused by continuous flooding in the new Botiano community has left roads impassable and structures on the verge of collapse. Nanaya Wisdom Ishen moved into the hanging house with his brother Alex Nana Benyin after the owner was forced by the situation to relocate with his family. Nanaya
Let's go back to Tafo Pankrono in the Ashanti region. Nanaya Obuachi now has a clear feed. He'll be telling us more about what Flagbearer hopeful Dr. Bawumia has been telling delegates. Nanaya Obuachi, what can you report from Tafo Pankrono?
All right, so Aisha, today the Vice President is wrapping up his campaign in the Ashanti region. He has been in the region for the past 2 weeks, campaigning across all constituencies. Later in the day, he will be meeting delegates who will be participating in the Special Delegates Congress of the New Patriotic Party come August 26th. Earlier, when speaking to delegates, the Vice President has been touting his achievements as Vice President and the need for delegates to vote for him. You see, the Ashanti region is a stronghold for some aspirants in the presidential race, as they say. And the Vice President says that for not being an Ashanti doesn't mean delegates shouldn't vote for him. And there is a need for them to come together and vote for him in August 26th. That's for the special delegates and also the general election on November 3rd. But I have some of the delegates here with me, and they will be sharing what they have for us. Vice President Hanum say why campaign throughout the region. No, it must the same out.
Oh, Ashanti region for Adinatum. It's an Juma Pa or by a wedding. Vice President here. Kenya will be baby Ashanti, Yan Tomano. Yet for 2 months, I'm at least when you are 80% here will be left with Ashanti region.
Okay, so he is saying that Ashanti region has accepted the Vice President and Flagbearer hopeful of the New Patriotic Party, and whatever it may be, the Vice President would win massively and nothing less than 80% of the vote. And again, now we are sure say Vice President which means 80% of the vote from Ashanti region and Kwan.
Yedikano, and who Brasia Nenu, and I will not them. And now since we shake Media and Namitia, Nami Forswa, Nami renew insurance, free education or campus. And then, Misia, Mitopia, Minia, and before Swa, Kanoko.
You heard then Nana Boachi Yadom with update from Tafo Pankrono. Let's now head to the Aliza Hotel. There's currently a National Executive Council meeting of the NPP. They are supposed to have a crucial meeting, and which is part of the processes leading to the upcoming primaries of the NPP. My colleague Samuel Mbura is there for us. Mbura, what is this meeting about, and who are the participants of this meeting?
All right, so Asha, we know very well that sometime last week, the vetting committee presented its report after scrutinizing the documents of all the 10 aspirants to the National Council of the party through the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong Kwedia. So per the party hierarchy, the National Council of the NPP is the second highest decision-making body and is supposed, or is mandated, to table these recommendations from the vetting committee before the National Executive Council, which is the final decision-making body in the NPP. So that is what exactly the meeting is all about today. But what we do know is that all the 10 aspirants have been passed by the vetting committee of the NPP, but they are supposed to be confirmed today. So that makes it very critical for the aspirants involved. So it doesn't mean that the vetting committee passing them makes them automatic or make them automatic aspirants in the upcoming race. So after today's meeting, that will determine whether the National Council has accepted in whole the report by the vetting committee or they would reject some. Another issue that is actually coming up in this meeting has to do with whether the exercise will be centralized or decentralized. You've already heard some of the aspirants raising concerns about they decentralizing the process. They think that they'll be less expensive than putting it at a centralized point and all that. So some of these issues will be looked into by the National Executive Council. Another serious issue has to do with the voters register ahead of the Special Delegates Congress slated for August 26. We know that after the General Secretary Frimpong Kodua granted us that interview, there were reactions from all the camps or some of the camps of the flag bearer aspirants that they were actually demanding fairness in the process. Some were of the school of thought that if you remove names of those who have vacated their positions or deceased persons from the voters register, you shouldn't replace it. You should leave it as such. So the committee will bring a finality to this. But mind you, as at yesterday, there was a meeting between the national executives of the NPP and the National Council of Elders of the NPP, looking at how the elections will be held with decorum, and also how they can guide all the aspirants to campaign without smear attacks and all that. So every member of the NPP who matters at the top hierarchy is expected to be part of this meeting. In fact, the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, is supposed to be part of the meeting, but I'm told he's currently not around. So expect every top member of the NPP, the founding members, and those who constitute the National Executive Council to be part of all this all-important meeting that will be held. But as we speak now, the meeting hasn't started. Just 5 minutes ago, Richard Ahiagwa, the National Communications Director, was here to assess the venue, and he just left about 5 minutes ago. So we are still pitching camp, waiting for the members of the National Council of the NPP and the National Executive Council to come and kickstart the meeting. But we are still pitching camp within the premises of Alisa Hotel.
Bora there bringing us updates of that crunch meeting to be held by the National Executive Council and the National Council of the NPP regarding the upcoming Super Delegates Conference, which happens on August 26. Away from politics, MP for Afram Plains North Betty Crosby Mensah is calling for the regulation of the activities of International Justice Mission, IJM, in Ghana. A recent BBC investigation revealed that some Ghanaian children were forcefully taken from their homes in an operation backed by IJM. In this report, BBC also said the children who were happily living with their relatives were unjustifiably removed from their homes without any evidence of going through one form of labor or the other. The IJM team in Ghana has since dismissed the claims made in the documentary. The country director, Anita Budu, spoke on Newsfile last weekend.
I am saying that there are inaccuracies in what is portrayed, or it's not the full picture of the work that goes on.
What is inaccurate about using your own request and the report from the social welfare to point to the glaring facts that they are not traffic kids?
What is inaccurate is that we cannot independently make a determination to move out and intervene. That intervention comes through the police processes and through their hierarchy and through their management, systems. That is what is inaccurate.
Okay.
We are always a learning organization, and we learn case by case, operation by operation. And so I believe there was reference made about the way operations were done in 2017 or prior to 2017. We've taken a lot of lessons from that, and a lot of dialogue. What we really pride ourselves on is building good relationship with our government partners, and so having dialogue as to what can work better and together moving forward in that. And so with this, yes, of course, things did not go 100% to plan, or as we would put it, but there are lessons to be learned, and we'll move forward with that. We always look to learn, we always look to grow. Processes were followed. Intervention is made. There is a process of interviewing, sitting with the children, determining more details around their family situation, family histories, and then going on to do further assessments as to what steps need to be taken for their continued well-being. In as much as our core mandate is supporting the justice system, we also believe very, very strongly that the well-being of the child is paramount. And when it comes to the well-being of the child, the support system and the system of care is also important. And so all that is part of our programming.
Let's now listen to Betty Crosby-Mensah describing the development as disturbing and calling for a mechanism to regulate the work of IJM.
I think this issue has been on my table for quite some time now. In 2017, those of you who remember, where I did a number of statements concerning the rates with which anytime NGOs felt that they needed children or they needed victims to parade in their various organizations, they rushed to the Volta Lake and rescue children from my constituency. And so again, it didn't come to me as a surprise when the BBC did their thorough work, and in the end, it came to the limelight that these NGOs were more of a targeted institution who were trying so much to meet their annual target. And so it didn't really matter whether indeed these children were actual victims or they were not. And so with me, I don't think the objective of rescue, because of course, when it comes to issues of trafficking, there are serious subjects and serious matters that need to be addressed. However, I feel that their mode of operating or the way of going about their business is not one of the best, and I feel we should regulate their activities and see how best we can protect the ordinary Ghanaian child, as well as making sure that real perpetrators are brought to book.
The MP who had earlier made a statement on the floor called on Parliament to take an interest in the work of the group.
Parliament has a very big role to play in this very matter, because you realize that first and foremost, Parliament constitutes the people's representatives. I mean, we are MPs coming from various constituencies, and I must tell you that when it comes to this IJM issue, it's not just limited to reverend communities. They go to farming communities as well. So every MP that has some rural constituency to his name should be concerned about the issue. Again, I also realize that most of these NGOs are using our own trafficking act vis-a-vis the Children's Act to, undertake their operations. So of course, it is definitely a document that came out of Parliament, and so Parliament should be interested in the laws that they pass. And if there's a need for us to have a critical look at this Children's Act and then Trafficking Act to see if there's a need for us to do some sort of amendment to ensure that at the end of the day, the ordinary Ghanaian or the Ghanaian children are protected. So yes, I seriously believe that is an issue of concern for all Ghanaians and especially to Parliament.
Away from Parliament, some good news for users of public toilets. Just like hotels have star ratings, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is introducing a star rating system to improve filthy and smelly public toilet facilities in Accra. The best toilets with the highest level of cleanliness and good odor will receive a 4-star rating. The head of the AMS sanitation team, Florence Kuchi, says the rating system will serve as a wake-up call for public toilet operators to maintain proper sanitary conditions. Public toilets that receive 0 stars will be closed down.
The filthy and smelly nature of some public toilets is enough to force you to run home to ease yourself. City authorities across the country have slacked in ensuring the highest hygiene in public toilets, but it is changing fast. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has quickened its steps to introduce star rating systems to improve sanitary conditions. Just like hotels receive stars, the AMA has commenced the assessment of public toilet facilities with a star rating system. Florence Kuchi is the head of the AMA Environmental, Health and Sanitation team.
Public toilet is one of the main drivers of a smart city. You can't have a smart city without a public toilet, because public toilet improve the city economy. It improved the health of the city. It also improved the health of the public. We started this journey from the 2021, where we launched the public toilet guideline. Today, we are now coming up to start with the star rating.
The AMA sanitation team visited the Koje Company Limited public toilet facility at the Agbogloshi bus terminal for assessment. The facility ticked many boxes on the checklist but failed the hygiene test, so the facility was given a low rating.
They would have scored 3 stars, but the ATP brought them down. So it means they need to work much on the touches, where people comes in and touch. It means they don't clean the doorknobs, the flashing areas, and then the taps.
The supervisor of Koje Company Limited, Abdul Karim, expressed his dissatisfaction with the low ratings but vowed to improve the facility sanitation standards.
I will be happy, but this has brought us down. That contamination has brought them, so I'm not happy about it. We will just improve ourselves to get that 3 stars.
Public toilets that fail all standards set by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly will not be rated, hence be closed down.
So when we are done with the checklist, if you score below 50, it means you have failed. We will have to look at what to do. Either we close down or we take action against you.
The managing director of Wheaties Ghana and hygiene specialist Esther Edo Jamina says the rating system will encourage public toilet operators to maintain a proper sanitary condition.
So they have to be in the right condition so that when they come in, they know they are safe. We are doing this, like I keep saying, as a continuous improvement measure. They will not be worried. It will rather put the operator and the cleaners on their toes, and it also gives some comfort to the user. So it's a win-win situation.
The AMA says public toilet facilities rating will soon be put on an app for the public to have access. Soon, you have the option of jumping onto an app before checking into a 4-star toilet facility of your choice. A report by Prince Ousuansa, read to you.
Let's take a break on Joy News today. We'll bring you business shortly.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the business segment on Joy News today with me, Pius Kojobaka. With Ghana's economy seeing an exponential dip in recent times, there have been calls to develop strategic policies in supporting the patronage of green businesses and their products in the country. Ashanti Regional Director at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mahmouda Osman, believes the optimization and patronage of environmentally sustainable enterprises could shore up the sinking economy. He says the continuous dependence on imported goods will not only throw the economy into economic difficulties, but also threaten national security. Here is more.
SNV Green Regional Trade Show held in Kumasi, Ashanti Regional Director of Trade, Mahmouda Osman, noted the essence of embracing a green and circular economy through industrialization.
Under the Green Project, I have witnessed entrepreneurs come out with very attractive and useful products from waste. Some are producing raincoats, laptop bags, etc. from waste sachet wrappers. Production of reusable sanitary pads, fertilizer from cocoa husk, charcoal briquettes, organic compost, among others. Global economy is sinking for various reasons. One major factor that makes Ghana's economy to struggle is lack of adequate industrialization, making us dependent on imports.
The 3-day exhibition and dialogue held under the theme Sustainable Trade Investments, the Future for the Ghanaian Economy, was in partnership with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, GIZ Ghana, Association of Ghana Industries, and Ghana Enterprises Agency. The trade show brought together over 50 green businesses from SNV's Green Incubation and Acceleration Program in the region who showcased their products and services. Project manager of the Green Project at SNV Ghana, Lawali Sada, indicated that support to green businesses in the country warrants a sustainable and environmentally friendly future.
The trade show is just opportunity that are given to very relevant SMEs that are being supported through incubation and acceleration to just be exposed to a larger market, to get network, to expand ideas and business, and of course, above all, to improve the sales of the products that are green products. So the trade show is one of the key activities that really support to improve the strongness, the quality, and the greenness of.
Now, Chief Executive of SESHD Plus Ghana, Adelaide Abiy Williams, has reiterated calls for equal opportunity for women in leadership roles of organizations. According to her, women have unique perspectives that aid in growth and development. She was speaking at the maiden edition of HD Plus Lead Hers Experience. The maiden edition of the HD Plus Lead Hers Experience provided a platform for women leaders in various positions to share untold stories of their leadership journey. In an interview with Joy Business, Chief Executive of SESHD Plus Ghana, Adelaide Abiy Williams, said women must be given equal opportunities to contribute to growth and development.
This is a platform that has been created for women leaders to share their experiences, to empower other women who are in leadership positions and also empower up-and-coming women who aspire into leadership. But diversity is key, right? Because if you listen to the discussions that we had earlier this afternoon, it's not about women against men. It's about how the male and female can complement each other, because we bring unique perspectives, unique talents, unique abilities to the table. And this is what we want to consolidate to these discussions.
Executive Director of Salt and Light Ministries, Dr. Joyce Ayi, added that more needs to be done to bridge the gender gap in organizations.
Throughout history, women have had to overcome numerous barriers. We are all witnesses to this. Fancy pan, thinking that a man can make coffee and not getting employed. The barriers are still there, but breaking them a bit at a time. But so much more needs to be done. What I'd like us to realize is that there's great and immense potential, and we're living in very, very wonderful times. Now we can do almost anything and everything that we want to do.
Women were also encouraged to work tirelessly to merit leadership roles in their organizations. That's all for business. I am Pius Kojoba Kadara will be here at 1 p.m. with the marketplace. Sports is next.
It's time for sports. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, former Black Stars forward David Akam is calling for massive improvement of investment into Ghana Premier League clubs. Now, the quality on the domestic scene has been described by many as low in comparison with other leagues on the continent. The upcoming Ghana Premier League season is set to kickstart on September 15. Akam wants profits made from last season to be reinvested into the league.
I think as Joy did an interview with one football administrator, I don't want to mention names, but they asked him how much he's made from money, and he said it's made about 5-6 million. And when you look at his team, I don't think he's not invested anything into his team. He doesn't have facilities for his team. The jerseys they wear, it's not even good enough, and that's one main reason. When America have money, they put the money into good use. They build academies. When you come to the MLS now, they have the MLS. Every team have MLS Next Pro. It's like reserve league that they play against every team. And then they have the academy where they play MLS Next. They play against each other. And sometimes they invite teams from all over the world play tournaments. So that's the progress. But in Ghana, we don't invest the money into football. We make the money from football and take it somewhere else. We don't invest the money. and we always complaining. So money is one, and also be ready to have a goal, set the goal, and follow through. It will take time, but for us, we want the progress. We want the job. We don't want to suffer. When we set a goal, follow the goal through. It will take time, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, but let's have a firm goal, a firm DNA that this is what we want to achieve.
That's your sports with me, Haruna Mubarak. Joy News Today continues.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News. And as his fans may know, Black Sherif has been globetrotting over the past few weeks, gracing all the big stages in Europe. Many fans anticipated his return to give them a show back here at home now. That day for return was yesterday, but he was picked up by the police right at the Kotoka International Airport after touching down. This has garnered many reactions on social media about what could have happened. My colleague Kenneth Awochidako brings us more.
Black Sherif was picked up as part of what appears to be a case of misunderstanding between his agent and a businessman who is claiming to have entered an agreement for him to perform on a cruise ship event that the businessman is organizing in August this year. Early on, details from the bloggers affiliated with the organizers suggested that the Soja singer had taken, quote, thousands of dollars, implying some sort of ill will on his part. But here is what happened, per what I've gotten now. My sources say the company approached Black Sherif's team for the said event, and the singer's agents agreed. An initial deposit of $20,000 out of a $40,000 booking fee was made by the complainant. However, the contract per Black Sherif's camp did not specify the need for promotional videos for a press launch ahead of the event. Now, Black Sherif's camp claimed they honored their part of the bargain until the organizer of the cruise demanded promotional videos from Black Sherif, threatening to cancel the contract if they were not provided. Now, amidst these threats of cancelling contracts and lawsuit, the singer's agents refunded an initial deposit in good faith, but the complainant insisted on being reimbursed $50,000 instead of the initial $20,000 fee, causing further tensions. There's another claim from the camp of the complainant insisting that the $20,000 was supposed to ensure Black Sherif records the video. This is where it gets a bit murky, because the businessman then proceeds to report the case to the police, alleging breach of contract and fraud. So basically, this is why Black Sherif was stopped at the airport upon his arrival from his recent tour in Europe. So it is simply to assist in the investigation.
Away from that, legendary boxer Zuma Nelson has revealed that one thing he loves doing is singing. The boxing Hall of Famer who turned 65 on Tuesday says he loves Kojo Entry and others.
Follow music a lot here in Ghana. On top of your head, can you mention, some of these musicians that you can, or you want me to mention them for you?
So I listen to them on the telly, yeah. So and the radio, So I know a couple of them too personally.
Manifest.
The father is my friend.
Okay.
This like Amachi Dede. What's the name? Dada Lumba,
yeah.
What is the name? The one who made this song.
Which one?
If I have the wings, I'll fly.
R. Kelly. Here in Ghana, Celine Dion. I've got wings to fly.
It's a Ghanaian.
Oh.
It's a Ghanaian. Why should I forget this man?
Oh, it's a man.
On that note, we end Showbiz here on Joy News. The small Showbiz news in subsequent bulletins. Good afternoon. And that's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon on Joy News Today. And you could log on to myjoyonline.com for more of the news. And updates of all the developing stories. You enjoy the rest of our stories. Now we can do it.